boy Queens Vibe, man. I'm here with none other than my brother himself, Guzman Academy 507, man. We here. We told you we was going to do this, man. We officially here. This is the official start and the first episode of the POL podcast, Pugilist of Life podcast, man. It's here. We out here, man. Yo, this is going to be the New York edition, so we're going to base a lot of this stuff on New York fighters. And we here, man. Yo, my man Guzman Academy, take over, man. What you got to say to the camera?
First of all, man, thank you, man, for tuning in with us, POL. Just want to give a prayers out to all the families that lost loved ones through this pandemic.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what really is going on out there. This pandemic done took a lot of life. But we go overcome this, you know. Just pray, give a prayers to everybody, send my prayers to everybody. God bless. And stay safe out there. But let's get into some boxing, man.
Definitely, man. So, yo, yeah, like my brother said, man, shout out and prayers to everybody that lost a loved one, man. I know my people personally in my life, on my people's side, lost a few family members, man. I lost a few people at work. This whole COVID thing was just, it's something that we could have never seen coming in our generation. Our time, even in the century, we probably never thought we would see anything like that. To be honest, I didn't even know what a pandemic was until this happened. Never even heard that word before. So it's just crazy what state sports is in right now. You know what I mean? The NBA hasn't started. NBA, there's no NBA champion. There's no MLB champion. The MLB hasn't started. The minor leagues, football, they don't know if they're going to have a football season. They don't know when it's going to start, where it's going to start. Everything is so uncertain right now. The state of boxing seems like they're going to be the first ones to try to build on this. You know, there were a few fights back in June on ESPN. It didn't have the same steam because people were getting tested positive, and some of the fights that were already pre-matched wound up getting canceled because people were testing positive for it, man. I know my brother here was watching the fights, man. I was working. What did you think about those fights on ESPN? It was about 3 weeks ago. What did you think about it?
Shout out to Top Rank. Shout out to Top Rank for putting out there these fights and the bubble and making it work. These fights are looking good. Shakur Stevenson, we had championship fights, 2 twin brothers. One of them lost their title. But other than that, most of the fights been good. They've been competitive. The only thing kind of weird is that there's no fans involved. But it's okay because at the end of the day, like we said, this pandemic done shook a lot of things, changed a lot of things in the world. But at the end of the day, we got to give thanks to God that we at least getting some sports back. Basketball's getting back on July 31st, I believe is their first game. And boxing just been taken off from what they started in June, and everything been good, man. Just want to give thanks that we are able to do this podcast and be here to try to bring some light to you of what's been going on with this boxing and stuff like that, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yo. So with this whole COVID thing, man, like, what do you think, let's just say, for instance, basketball gets postponed again. What do you think, I know there's two major fights coming up right now. Let's talk about that. We got, and potentially, Lomo versus Teofimo Lopez, Brooklyn native, by the way. You know, shout out to Teofimo, Brooklyn in the building, you know what I mean? What do you think that a fight like that will do for fans right now, especially with the COVID, man? What do you think about that fight? I want your opinion.
Oh, well, that type of fight will bring the morale up, you know what I'm saying? All these things that have been going on, a fight like that will be type of, in the sense of good for the fans. The fans will enjoy a good fight, because to me it's a 50-50 fight. I don't know what you think.
You were talking to me about that yesterday, 50-50, and I was listening to you, of course, you're a knowledgeable guy. In my head, I didn't see 50-50. I saw Lomo probably like 65-35. Teofimo Lopez, man, he has a pop in his punch, and that kid is skilled, man. I've been watching his amateur stuff. I've been watching his beginning pro fights. That kid can crack in both hands. But he's young, and he hasn't had the experience in the ring that Lomo has. So I'm curious to know, when you go against someone that's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 400 fights with like 1 loss, amateur, 1 loss as a professional, and that 1 loss, you could argue maybe he didn't lose that against Salido. Again, Lomo didn't lose that fight. You really would go 50-50? I want to know your reasoning behind him him being neck and neck with Lomo in the odds of a fight of this magnitude?
Well, the reason I got it 50-50, because from the beginning they've been second guessing Teofimo.
I get it.
They've been saying
he's risen to the occasion every single time. He's risen to the occasion.
And they've been saying he's too young, he's too. Him and his dad been proving everybody wrong. The young man is at the right time. He's young, he's ferocious, he could box, he could fight, he could crack. Everything in his favor. The same way we got a guy like Lomachenko, won 396 fights in the amateur, only lost one. He avenged that fight in the Olympics, was the guy that he lost. And in the pros, he only got one loss, which is to Orlando Salido. Maybe a future Hall of Fame, Orlando Salido.
Definitely.
But Teofimo has everything in his favor. He's young, he's hungry, and him and his dad must see something that other people don't see, that they could spoil on Lomachenko. Maybe you don't see it, maybe I don't see it, but I give Teofimo a good shot in this fight.
Do you think Lomo has faced anyone with his type of punching power? Because it's clear that this kid can punch, and he can punch in both hands. Do you think Lomo, any of his opponents, any of his professional opponents, has had that type of punch? Or do you think Lomo might be biting off a little more than he can chew with that type of power he possesses?
Well, Lomo had maybe four notable fights that everybody thought that could have been tough fights for him. Nicholas Walters.
Yeah, I was
Rigondeaux.
He walked through Rigondeaux.
He walked through Rigondeaux. Same thing, he walked to Walters. Tough fight with Linares. Linares dropped him, but then he finished Linares.
Yeah. Skills won that.
Skills won that one.
Yeah, sure.
I think the toughest fight Lomachenko gonna have is Teofimo Lopez. Because let's be for real, nobody gave Teofimo Lopez a chance to even beat Richard Comey.
That's a fact.
And Richard Comey, great fighters from Ghana, trained by Uncle Dre, Andre Rozier, tough kid, very good kid, humble kid, love the guy. I got to meet him, you know what I'm saying? I got to meet him, and he's a humble kid, and he's tough. Not in a million years, I thought the fight would have been a tough fight. I never thought that Teofimo could have finished it that quick. And he did what he did, not taking nothing away from Richard Comey, because boxing is boxing.
One
punch could finish everything, you know what I'm saying?
Gloves.
Like Tyson said, you got a game plan. Once you get punched, that game plan goes out the window. You know what I'm saying? So that was a fight that made me think that the young man has been proving everybody wrong. Him and his dad. So a lot of people, oh, his dad don't know what he's talking about. He must know what he's talking about, because his son is world champion now.
I remember that night actually. I called somebody and I wanted to see their opinion on it, and they said honestly they thought Coleman was going to win that fight, but by decision. It wasn't going to be a knockout. But man, was that prediction totally wrong? Like completely, utterly wrong, and it happened so fast I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow.
And like I said, you can't take nothing away from Richard Comey.
No, not at all.
He was never given nothing in this sport. Everything that he got, he won. The same way with Teofimo Lopez. You know what I'm saying? He had to get to the rankings. He won the championship. He had to do all the things he had to do. He proving everybody wrong, man. The guy, it's a 50-50 fight between those two guys. I'm happy if they do fight, because as a fan of boxing, a trainer, stuff like that, we the fans win.
I agree with you 100%, especially in a time like this, man. Sports is just so uncertain, man. Life is so uncertain. If they could seal away this contract, I think everyone will have something set in stone to look forward to. Whether it's pay-per-view or not, it would be nice if it's not pay-per-view. But, beggars can't be choosy with that one. You know what I mean? A fight of that magnitude and a time period like this, man, I think it'll help humanity out in general, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and boxing was coming up, man. We had to.
Boxing was on the come up, man.
Because
boxing was making its way back.
Because we have all these young fighters that are coming up, man. And by the grace of God, everybody's doing good. Everybody's in good health. Like we said, a lot of people in the world lost loved ones. Right. And again, we send our prayers out to you guys. But boxing is still, still here. And there's no fans involved, but fans get to watch it at home. You got fighters like David Haney. Oh man, I'm stoked to see what else he got to give us. He's the truth. You got a guy like Ryan Garcia. Oh, the young kid is fast, and this and that, and he's good. And then you got a guy like Javante Davis. Oh man, the kid is amazing. A lot of people out there saying that he's not focused, he's not this. I'm not one to judge because I'm not there in his camp. But I wish him all the luck. And when the guy is focused, we've seen what he could do. The guy is amazing. Chris Colbert, Primetime, Lil B.I., the Golden Child. They're young men. To me, like I've been telling you for way long, I think he's one of the premier fighters in New York. I think he's one of the best fighters in New York, young fighters in New York coming up. The kid, world champion, his trainer Sosa. They have a great stable of fighters. And they side Nikita, Bibi. They got a few more. Also, Andre Rozier has a good stable. He has Derenchenko. He has Edgar Berlanga fighting on Tuesday on ESPN. Watch out for that one, because he's 13-0 with 13 knockouts in the first round. And we just hoping that he keeps the streak alive or just keep winning, because at the end of the day, it's about winning.
Now that you say that, hold up. Boom. So you're talking about records right now, right? So people will want to know, let's just say, for instance, hypothetically speaking, Edgar Berlanga, he goes out there, sometimes your night isn't your night, right? Sometimes you lose those fights. What happens to someone's career if, let's just say, worst case scenario, he gets stopped in a fight of that magnitude, that level, and he's still building his career? What happens to a fighter like that?
Well,
what happens to the steam that they're building, more or less? Because I think a lot of people don't understand when you're a prospect and you're not there yet, what a loss could do to your career.
I think he's beyond a prospect right now. He's a household name because they know his name. But I think that it will also push him back a little bit, because we don't know what mental state he will be if he loses, which we're not thinking of losing, because I root for them. And the guy is amazing. Beautiful jab. He's working on his craft every day. I get to talk to Uncle Rozier, Andre Rozier, most of the time. I get to be in this gym some of the time. And those guys down there, they don't cut corners, man. Those guys work hard. They got a guy down there, good friend of mine, like my brother, Pretty Boy Pablo Valdez, 4-0, I think, with 4 KOs, if I'm not mistaken. And they got guys like Derenchenko, that technician. Oh man, this guy's amazing.
Yo, listen, me personally, the Derenchenko kid, man, I didn't think Triple G had it. That was a 13th round. I don't think Triple G was going to walk out.
To tell you the truth, I really think that the Zone won that fight. They had just lost the fight with, what's his name, Joshua. Got knocked out by Luis, right? And to lose the first fight of Triple G on the Zone, to lose to Derenchenko, the scorecards was very, very not good to me, because the knockdown did nothing. Derenchenko pushed the fight completely. Derenchenko pushed the fight, showed grit, showed ring generalship. He did everything he had to do for a guy to win. If that wasn't Triple G, he would have won that fight for sure. You know what I'm saying? He has a tough fight coming up against Charlo, one of the Charlo brothers, and to tell you the truth, both of those guys, man, I applaud them two guys, man. They very good fighters. They did everything they had to do to get to where they had to get. I believe that those guys, sky's the limit with them too. And this fight also is a 50-50 fight. Derenchenko and Shaw. You know what I'm saying? I would love, that's a good fight to see too.
That kid Derenchenko, man, is no game, man, and he can punch. Don't think he can't. He can punch.
No, he could punch. And the body shots is working for him against Triple G.
Yo, you could tell he was slowing Triple G down. You could see it. Granted, Triple G is he's a little out of his prime, I think, personally. But Triple G is still no game. Triple G is still a threat. He's still a but I think it would have also been a different fight if he was a little younger, a little fresh leg.
Oh yeah.
Still had that hungry.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It would have been a different fight, but sure. At the end of the day, it was a fight.
It was still a good fight.
It was still a skillful fight.
Still very.
Because Triple G got one of the best jabs in the game.
And yo, he actually has the highest, I looked at the statistic, he has the highest connect rate in jabs of any active boxer. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
No, he's a hell of a fighter, man.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But you know, there's a lot of fighters like Shakur Stevenson. Oh man, wow. What can we say about this kid?
Shakur is different. I like Shakur.
This kid is different, man. This kid got the skills to pay the bills.
That's for sure.
This kid has everything that you would like to have in a fighter. He's skillful. He's charismatic. His smile lights up the room.
He's a cameo. You can tell he's a cameo.
And he loves boxing. And Teofimo, Richard Richardson, all these young guys, they love boxing. You can see that when you talk boxing to them, they can see through their eyes that they love boxing so much and they want to do boxing. They want to be great, so they push themselves. We also got other fighters in New York like Justin Biggs, young kid. Oh man, amazing. Beautiful heart. He's trained by Joel Judah. Amazing person, great friend of my family, and great trainer. Cesar Francis is trained by my dad, Francisco Guzman Sr., and myself, Francisco Guzman Jr. And the kid could fight. He's coming up, doing his thing. We got other kids like Daniel Gallo, very good fighter. Don't cut no corners, work hard as hell. Lefty Guns, young man from Richwood, doing this thing, knowing since he was a young kid, doing this thing. Peter Dawson from the Bronx, oh man, the kid is amazing, he can fight too. Nikita, like I said.
What do you think about the other kid from the Bronx, Morris Park?
Oswald Park, oh man, he just had a fight on ESPN and looked amazing. The young man, I want to see him again and again and again, and he's from New York, not because we from New York, it's just that New York, the kid can fight, man, and New York is coming, man. The kid can fight. Other guys, let's go to the guys that have already been world champions now. I can't wait to see Marcus Brown back, my brother back in the ring. You know, a lot of guys don't want to give him that call, but he's going to get that call soon. He's always prepared. He is also trained by a good friend of mine named Gary Starr Sr. Oh man, great trainer and great friend of mine. And these guys, they don't, like I said, another kid that we forgetting from Long Island, Alex Vargas. Oh kid, Southpaw kid, 135, 140. Could fight, man. Could fight. You should look him up. He could fight. He could fight. He could fight. He could fight. Those guys could fight. You know, New York got a lot of good fighters coming up, man. If I miss a few, don't worry, we'll get to you. We got amateur fighters even in New York that are great. We got one that is representing United States in boxing right now. His name is Bruce Carrington. It's called Choo Choo. And then we got another one that made it to the qualifying and stuff like that named Chop Chop. Great fighters, dynamic. Deshaun Williams, we got,
that's my brother.
Deshaun and stuff like that. They got good fighters. I got a young man by the name of Ryan Lawson. He's coming up. He's only got 3 fights. He's coming up.
That's my bro.
You know what
Shout
I'm saying?
out to my bro Solo Bands, man. We out here, man. You see it, Solo.
He's working hard. He's coming up. There's a lot of other fighters that are coming up. There's a young kid that I hope he watches this. If he stay focused, he could be amazing. His name is Christian Valdez. Chris, you're very good. Just stay focused, my brother. If you listen, you'll be amazing. You're a hell of a fighter. Just gotta discover it in you. And you're a hell of a fighter. Just keep working, my brother. You are there.
Right there. Well,
you know what I'm saying?
More positivity here, man. You know what I mean? We're not here to blast nobody. We're here to talk boxing. We're here to promote all the guys that need promoting. We're here to talk boxing, we're here to promote, help you put on, you know, build this format for you guys, man. So, this is what I wanted to ask you, bro. So, you know, amateur, matter of fact, this is even a better question, now that I just thought about it in my head, man. When do you think that amateur fighting is coming back, man? Because when the COVID happened, we were in the middle of the Golden Gloves, or
The Ringmasters.
The Ringmasters, let me disclaimer, I forgot they changed the name. Ringmasters, definitely. We was in the middle of the Ringmaster tournament. My man Solo Bands, he was making his way up. He just won the fight. He was getting ready to fight again. And then everything happened with the COVID.
Well, from my understanding, I think some states already did amateur boxing back.
Oh, they brought it back?
They did the testing and all the stuff like that. Because in New York, not opening up everything yet. We're not even in phase 4 yet. By, sooner or later they're going to be opening. But let's be for real. Let's give thanks to God that we at least got some boxing back, some sports back. Because life is more important than sports. Let's be for real. Because COVID, this messed up everything.
Correct.
And I'd rather people be safe than talk about let's do sports and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So we got to give thanks that we at least got some sports back. But I think when it comes back, we're gonna get back to normality and just do what we do and fight. You know what I'm saying? Most of these young guys are staying ready. I be following them on Instagram. They running. They are training in the parks with their trainers. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. Not least, man, I have a fighter, man, a good friend of mine. He can fight, man. His name is David Flack. David Flack. Check out his Instagram, man.
Instagram is lit.
Man, it's lit, man. This guy is amazing, bro. And he's, how he calls the show?
All call-outs are mandatory.
All calls are mandatory, and I believe that. My brother, keep doing what you're doing. You're bringing some excitement back to boxing.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like I said, man, boxing is coming back little by little. One of my favorite fighters is a commentator in ESPN. His name is Andre Ward. You know what I'm saying? SOG.
SOG.
I think to me, one of the best fighters that I got to see in my era.
Great.
But one of the great ones also Floyd Mayweather.
Of course.
Jr. Amazing. Where do we put him in pound for pound? He's up there.
For sure.
For
sure. Of his era,
he changed everything.
For sure.
He made it possible for young guys to come and get the contracts they do, the money that they do these days. Hey, I want to ask you a question. What you think about Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr., Danny Garcia?
As a fighter, or we just naming that? What I think about it?
Sean Porter. And there's a kid that me and you was talking about the last time. He's 15-0 with 15K. Virgil Ortiz.
Oh man, I keep seeing this kid Virgil Ortiz pop up on my news feed, and I'm like, yo, let me take a look at this kid, man. Yo, man, that kid can fight, man. I'm like, yo, he's up and coming. I hope and pray, his career continues to blossom the way it is, man. Errol Spence is the truth, but yo, man, I don't know if anyone saw a clip of that car accident he was in. For him to be even walking, talking, or doing anything physical,
God is great.
God is great. Because, boy, that man is supposed to be dead. At least from what the car says. But I think he was talking, they're trying to push for that Terrence Crawford fight. They're saying they don't want a tuna fight. He's going straight to fight Terrence Crawford. And I was like, I don't know. Listen, man, you went through a lot. You've been out the sport for a little while, man. You were at the pinnacle of
But I
the
think
sport.
he's not fighting Terrence Crawford, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
they're looking for the fight with him and Danny Garcia.
Oh yeah? No, I didn't hear that.
Him and Danny Garcia.
Danny was building steam, but 2000 seems like he fights every 2 years now, or every year, something like that. So it's, Danny's only getting older. If you don't know, man, people only get older. They don't get younger. So you could look great one fight, take off 15 months, and you just look like a totally different guy now bring the next fight. I'm not saying that's gonna happen to him, but I'm just saying, the time that they've spent away, like Danny Garcia spends a lot of time in between fights now since he reached the
and this is because that some of the promoters don't work with each other. But I think with this pandemic, everything has to change. Now promoters got to come together
because
trying to
keep the sport alive.
And I think they're gonna push the differences aside and come together and work. Some fighters deserve the money that they want to fight for, but it's very impossible without no fans.
Man, you can't
say that.
Fans pay a salary.
Because let's be for real, a guy like Terrence Crawford deserves all the money that he wants to fight because the guy's amazing. I've been watching the guys from the beginning before he even like became a household name. I told my dad about him, and my dad he's a boxing fiend. He had world champions before, so he loves Terrence Crawford. He loves Errol Spence Jr. He loves all these guys. But like you said, Danny Garcia and stuff, and it's only going to get even worse like this because these guys are no longer like these young guys that I mentioned that got to take fights and fights. These are guys that already done pay their dues. So when they do take a fight and the fight don't go through, or the paperwork don't go through, or the money is not right, the fights get pushed back, they also go back to the shelf. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly though, I think had that car accident not happened in Errol Spence, I think that Terrence Crawford fight was inevitable. Too many people will call it
that fight still would be inevitable because at the end of the day, because of fans buying pay-per-views, let's say 6 million people buy pay-per-view to watch them fight each other. They will make the money that each one want to get paid.
Yeah.
But you also have to guarantee the pay-per-view sale.
Yeah.
And let's be for real, in the last few years, the pay-per-view sales been down. The only one that was doing pay-per-view sales like that, his name was
It made money way. That's it. Canelo's not even doing paper sales.
That's right. He's
Canelo's
the
next one right
He's
there.
a DAZN.
Yeah.
And DAZN puts good fights, but at the end of the day, how long do they have to keep putting these fights together? You know what I'm saying?
But man, PBC, man. Shout outs to PBC.
Oh no, man. They're amazing.
brought since 2015. PBC brought some classic fights.
Thurman
Porter, Thurman Garcia. They brought some classic fights.
There's one guy that people don't talk too much about, man. Sorry to cut you, man. But this guy has to be talked about. I call him the gatekeeper of 47.
Who?
If you want to become somebody, you gotta beat him. Sean Porter.
Oh my God.
Oh, man.
Listen.
He's a nightmare.
Oh my God, he's a nightmare, man.
Guys,
Nobody, I don't care what you tell me. Sean Porter is the truth. In his own fighting stand and in his own fighting realm, he is the truth.
And not just because of the fight, it's everything that he brings, the work ethic.
God.
The guy, the way humble he is.
He's humble.
That's what's so cool about him. And the guy is an amazing fighter, man.
Oh, man.
You gotta give it to this man. And a lot of people don't talk about him, and a lot of fighters don't even mention his name. And I feel like he shouldn't take that in no disrespect. He should also take that in respect that they don't mention his name because they know if you get into that type of fight, yo bro, that's a
hard fight for your career, man.
Yo bro, that's a fight that you yourself gotta be like, wow, I gotta prepare myself right.
You gotta,
you know what I'm saying?
In terrific shape.
And let's be for real, his fight with Errol Spence Jr., oh my God.
Errol Spence Jr. didn't think it was gonna be that hard.
He didn't know.
You don't care. I don't care what you tell me.
If he don't tell us, or don't tell the world, but I know between himself and that fight, he has a different.
Guy walks through me, I'm gonna punch him out. He's not gonna be able to handle it. Yo, Sean Porter put something on Errol Spence and woke him up. He did what he had to do to edge that win, but he knew for a fact that was the hardest fight of his career, hands down.
And you got to give that guy, Sean Porter, all the props, man. But man, we are thankful for boxing to be back, man. Sports to be back in general.
For sure,
and for people to be good and safe. All this pandemic, the COVID is going down. A lot of people not getting sick no more. And a lot of people are taking care of themselves, taking the right measurements, you know what I'm saying, to stay away from it. We got to keep our kids safe, you know what I'm saying, because this is not a joke, man. This is not a joke, man. This changed the world.
For sure.
This changed the world in different things, in different ways. So let's just give thanks that the Lord, that we are here to even do this podcast, me and my brother.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And give thanks to that our families are great.
Shout out to my brother Chico over here, the Guzman Academy 507, man. This podcast came, we here right here today because of this man. He brought it to my attention. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. But then one day, man, somebody put the battery in my back and I said, yo, we really gonna do this. A few weeks later, and when we just slowly started building, we started getting the things that we needed to make this a possibility, man. So, but he had the vision, man. So shout out to my brother, man.
Thank you very much. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for even, being my partner in this, my partner in crime in this podcast. This podcast is gonna bring different point of views of fighters and stuff like that. Next episode we're gonna talk about Philly fighters, cause man, Philly fighters can fight, man.
Philly guys, next episode too as well. We hope to have somebody. We're gonna have our first guest Our first guest on the show, man, yo, we told you, man, we here to build a platform. We're gonna talk boxing, and we're gonna talk to the pros and the amateurs. We're gonna start out in New York. We want the little guys, we want the guys that don't have the platform, and we want to get them out there, man. This is for New York, man, you know what I mean? Hopefully we can expand it and make it bigger, but right now we really focus on those guys that are really trying to build. So yo, man, we really appreciate you guys tuning in. Before we go, I want to do one little quick segment. We're gonna throw out a few names, and we're gonna do a little fantasy matchup, and we want to see what you think about the fantasy matchup. So I'm gonna throw out a few names. You ready?
Dave, talk to me.
If this were to happen, Charlo, Alvarez, Canelo, who and why?
Tough fight.
Who we got?
Tough fight.
Who would you
This is a podcast that we don't pick and choose sides.
Nope, we're not picking and choosing. Who would you
But
just think
because-
has upper hand?
Been in tougher fights and stuff like that, man, this is a 50-50 fight.
You think it's
I think
50-50?
Charlo's tough. I think he's strong. I think Canelo got the skills. Canelo been in tougher fights, bigger fights, not tougher fights, bigger fights. 50-50, man.
It's 50-50?
But 50-50, but I know the crowd would go more with
Canelo.
because he had the bigger fights before
For sure.
to the people.
I think it would go with him.
But to me, like we said, you don't choose to pick here.
Nah.
It's a 50-50 fight, and I think them Charlo brothers are great, man.
For sure, man. That'll be we gonna wrap it up here, man. That's gonna conclude the first episode of the POL podcast, man, Pugilist of Life podcast. Yo, man, like, comment, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you don't ever miss any content that we put up on our YouTube page, man. Yo, man, it's a pleasure doing this, man. I hope and pray you guys are out there safe, man. Stay away, do whatever you can to avoid this COVID, man. Take care of your families. Yo, thank you for supporting us, man, and stay tuned because we got a whole lot more content coming for you, man. You already know, man. Queens get the money, man. Queens stand up, man.
Thank you very much, man, for everything, for signing up and seeing this podcast. Me and my brother, Queens Vibe, the Guzman Academy right here, 507. Want to give you a thanks and a prayer to everybody out there. Stay safe and may God bless you. Keep going.
Queens get the money, put my city on the map.